samples from you and prodding you and pricking you and all this stuff, what is going to be in your mind emotionally?
Absolutely. You're going to have some severe PTSD. Let me tell you something. You're on the craft taken against your will. They got you on a table. You can't move, but you're maybe fully awake, and you see what they're doing. They got these machines that's got these weird noises, and it's cold, and they're coming down. They're going up your nose and all kind of different things. And here's the thing. All those, your senses take in the sights and the smells and the touch of what your environment is when this horror is happening. So from that point on, and the rest of your life, there will be triggers that will remind you of that, and you're going to go right into that anxiety, that terror of it all.
Well, think about every night you go to bed. Okay, you go to bed at night, and you just wonder, are you going to be abducted tonight? Just the thought of trying to get to sleep, just having that thought in your mind and have to live with that for the rest of your life. That is the scary part, because a lot of these people have been abducted. It's not been abducted one time or two times. It's been multiple times. So when you go to bed at night, just think of the thought, is tonight going to be the night I'm going to have to go through this again?
Exactly. You know, another thing I've often wondered, like Calvin Parker or any other abductees who've now come forward and written all these books and stuff, and it's getting out there. Do these ETs, I mean, come on, they've got to have some super technology. They've got to know what you're writing about and that you're putting these books on. I wonder how that affects them on abducting you, and, you know, how they're going to treat you next time around, or, you know what I mean? How are they going to perceive that?
I don't know. I don't know if they're knowing you write a book. They might just, when they implant you, because we don't even know what these implants do. You know, some people speculate, is this to keep track of your body functions? Or is it? Is it maybe probing your brain on a constant basis? So whatever you're thinking of, they can sit there and watch on their super big screen what you're looking at, what you're thinking about. We don't know about what do these implants actually do. We don't know.
Well, I could say this much: for any species that can come here and fly their machines and go anywhere they want and do what they want, I can pretty much assure you that their technology, if they've got a implant in you, they probably can not only know what you're doing, I think they can control you and tell you what to do. And like Dave Edmonds said, he thinks that they told him, I think through the implants, to go certain places where they would meet him. And, you know, things like that. Also, I think that some of the abductees, they think they got telecommunications with them. Maybe it's through an implant that they're receiving their thoughts and stuff from these aliens.
Yeah, I don't believe the people just say that, the aliens talk to me. I do believe if they have an implant in them, and maybe these same people don't realize they have that implant in them, and they are communicating with them, but I just don't think they're just communicating with anybody in particular. I think they're communicating with people with implants. But the thing is, I think it's a lot more people than we ever could realize is implanted, walking down the streets, and they don't even realize it. Tens of thousands of people might be implanted for a reason. You know, just like in the Soviet Union at one point had all these sleeper agents in our country. Remember that?
Oh, absolutely. They made a whole TV series about it.
Think about this. An alien race, it has some objective to our planet, okay? Could be doing that, abducting people, implanting them, and when the time is ready for whatever they want to do, that's when they activate that implant.
Yeah, and I truly think that they have their long game is what we would consider a serious long game, because I think they can do their experiments, because I think their lifespans are way longer than ours. So they can just sit back and let it play out and eventually just let us kill ourselves off, so to speak, and then, you know, hey, we'll come down in and that's it. Well, and they'll come under the guise of probably like, we're coming here to help you with the little bit left of population, and then they just, you know, do what they want anyway.
Well, look at, again, I brought it up, you know, like I told everybody what would happen because of the tariffs. Nobody or very few people believed me back almost a year ago when I said it was going to put our country in a recession before 2020. And, well, if you've been reading the news, you're finding out the country is starting to go into recession. Manufacturing is like in a 10-year low right now. I mean, we're on the verge of going into a major recession, probably after elections. Now, it's a lot of things that is going on, okay? When they're sitting there saying now, by the year 2040, 2045, 2050, our oceans are going to be dead. Places like Florida, North Carolina, the East Coast is going to be underwater, or big hunks of it. We got these super volcanoes all over the country, and people don't even realize it. It isn't one in Yellowstone. There's several of them, including one in California. There's one on the East Coast. Any of those could erupt at any time and take out multiple states and then shut down, aircraft for a long period of time. And those areas, the people will not survive when one of those go off. I've got a funny feeling the gent of it is they're just sitting back waiting for one of these cycles are going to happen. One, Antarctica, in the next 20 years, is the sea is going to rise so high. Again, the water that comes from the equator goes all the way up to the Atlantic Ocean, all the way up to the UK. It keeps that area from going into a mini ice age because of the water temperature. That is stalling right now. But they're not talking much about on the news. That stalls. Well, Europe is going to go into a mini ice age. Where are the people going to go? And then, in the next 40 years, water, because of everything that's going on, because the earth is going to be so screwed up, you're not going to be able to find drinking water without paying a fortune for it. And there's going to be more people than there is going to be available water and food. I mean, a lot of things are going on right now. And we're more concerned about politics right now and the stupid fence. It amazes me. We need to get our act together, people.
Yeah, and here's another little scary thought. When you speak about these super volcanoes and stuff, a gallon of water weighs 8 pounds. Now, with all these earth changes, stuff melting, and waves, I don't know if you've been out in the ocean, but you get all these massive waves and stuff melting, the water's higher. So these waves are coming in, a lot of waves, and the currents are changing. That's a lot of weight, and that could shift the earth enough. Who's to say it won't be a catalyst to activate one of these super volcanoes? And God knows when one goes off, maybe another one might kick off another one. And like you said, they're going to take out 2-3 states, if not more.
Well, there's one out in the ocean, too, a super volcano. What's that going to happen if that goes off? That's going to cause, 1,300-foot waves to come into the land? Well, what's that going to do to the part of the country? It's scary. It's a lot of. I'm not trying to put groom out there or scare people, but I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and it seems to be so much more sightings and UFOs than ever. And again, people talking about implants and seeing aliens and being abducted. There's some agenda. It's going on right now. I mean, I'm not blind. I'm not stupid. I might be a little crazy, as you know, James, but something is going on out there, and they're trying to keep our minds off of it right now. Otherwise, I would think people would be freaking out about Earth changes. It wouldn't take much. They already said our Earth is slightly tilted. What could happen more if the iron core of our planet shifts or slows down or does something? We could tilt more. What would that do?
Exactly. And you've touched on this before with how there's been a lot of UFO sightings around a lot of volcanoes and a lot of volcano activity. So was that a coincidence, or what's going on? Maybe they're monitoring, or maybe they're, stir the pot a little bit to speed it up. Who knows?
Well, 4 days ago, NASA photos show UFO fleet shaped like donuts over the sun. Now, I'm not talking close to the sun, but flying in front of the sun. And NASA has these pictures. Now, isn't that kind of strange? But, again, is it our Space Force, or is it them from out there?
Oh, these are all good questions. I would think it'd probably be, if they're close to the sun, I would almost venture to say it's probably them out there, and maybe they're stopping to refuel. Maybe they use something from the sun or a power source to help what they need for. I don't know, but these are all good questions.
I don't know. It's scary because all this stuff has come out. I would enjoy if you're only told part of the story and you leave it hanging. It really causes people more anguish. You know, if I sat there and told you something, you want to know the whole part. You just don't want to know part of the story. You want to know the whole story. So when you have the Navy coming out and saying, well, UFOs are real. Okay. Now, again, they're not saying they're coming from another solar system. They're just unidentified flying objects. They're real. But they're doing things that anything of ours couldn't do. I don't believe for a minute we have the capability of back engineering the craft that they found from Roswell, because I know how our technology is. Like we talked about it before. I just don't think we have the capability. I just don't think our science is there enough to, backdate and develop and re-engineer a propulsion system from a UFO that was captured in the 50s or 60s or 70s and mass produce it. I just don't believe that yet. I just don't think so. Like I said before, Drop a cell phone off, if you could go back in time to even 1920 and give it to the highest technician scientist in the world. You think he could duplicate that cell phone? Absolutely not. I don't buy that Bob Lazar, his story. I've been doing a lot more reading on it. And yeah, his story has never changed, but I just don't believe we have the technology to replicate these UFOs. And I don't believe that these UFOs are ours. I don't. I think our technology is far superior than what we are led to believe, but I don't think we have the technology to go to another solar system or go out and fight in our solar system or our galaxy. I just don't buy that.
Right. And here's the thing about what you're mentioning about this technology and back engineering. Who's to say that these alien crafts, now if they're coming from another planet, they may have elements, 300 more elements that we don't even know of, that you can't even get here, and you got to mix certain ways to make certain materials to do this back engineering. There's so many factors that go into this. It may be impossible for us to even think about back engineering it, much less wanting to do it. We don't have the capability or the materials or the know-how to even begin to do it.
Well, I was an electronic engineer at one point in my life. I used to design computers back in the 80s. Okay? I just think of how our technology is, even the world's smartest people, to sit there and replicate a propulsion system, or let alone the materials that are used to design a UFO or spacecraft. I just don't think we have the technology to do it. I think we might figure out what it does, but to duplicate it and replicate it, I don't think we have that technology. Now, I could be 100% wrong, which I usually am, but it just food of thought. I think these UFOs that are being sighted are not ours. I just don't think so. I do think some are being misconstrued because there may be seeing, some type of our aircraft, like certain fighters that they're not used to seeing, or, maybe we have certain, bombers yet that we don't know and that they're test flying everywhere. But the actual UFOs that they're being sighted and the size of them, I don't think we have the technology to make one as big as Walmart or as a stadium. Come on. It doesn't make logical sense. I think we are being visited. I think there's a agenda going on. I don't think it's the friendly one. But again, some people believe that these aliens give off orbs and heal them. And what can I say?
You make a good point. Absolutely. I agree with you totally. And the only way that we could even be able to think about having that technology or having a UFO like that is if we had the alien themselves show us how to use one, maybe. But I still don't think we have the materials or the know-how here to put these things together to make them. Because some of these UFOs, it's like they took one big hunk of something and just bored it out. It's all one piece.
Just think about that. Even in Roswell, some of that metal they found, they could crumple up into a ball and it would go back and be structural strong into its original shape. Makes you wonder, we're going we're going to go on break. We'll be back at 2 minutes after the hour. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark. When we're back, we'll have